Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody.
And before we get going again, let's ask everybody to send out your positive intentions and prayers for everybody in the Ukraine and for all of humanity, as we have all been, let's say, not served it to the highest degree by the leadership of this globe.
No, I would say, but we have been used to the highest degree from them. Sure.
I think more people are waking up to that fact. All you got to do is look at expressions, and I was watching this being during his speech, and I was noticing, to me, we've talked about overshadowing, and there was a book called The Spear of Destiny that was written, and it talked about the search by the Nazi Germans to find the spear that supposedly pierced the side of Christ because it was going to have magical properties. And in it, they were talking about, Hitler, and how he would look like nothing because he wasn't really a big guy. He wasn't imposing. He wasn't impressive. Yet he would look like nothing before he'd go out there to make a speech. And then when he got out there, it was like he was a totally different person. Aha. Again, this is what the Emerald Tablets were talking about with the overshadowing. They will not be able to hold their form. You can look right through and see their true, where their heart is.
You can. You just open up your heart chakra a little bit and kind of lean into this energy, and you can feel it.
Just feel it. Just see it. And, I was just looking, and it just, you could tell there's certain beings that truly enjoy chaos. They love chaos. It pleases them. It makes them happy. And unfortunately, this is what we have leading this planet. And we see Biden vows U.S. forces are not going to fight in Ukraine while unveiling devastating sanctions. And, I'll give you guys all the links. So he says, nope, but if they go into a NATO country, yes, then it's a different story. Meanwhile, in some parts of the Ukraine, it's kind of quiet, but in some, it's not at all. One thing we are seeing are anti-war protesters filling the streets in many different places, and many have been arrested in Russia.
And why is it that they can fill the streets with chaos and tanks and guns and bombs, but people who want peace, they seem to be the ones who are getting rounded up when we speak of roundups?
And I think, so many people can just see through the BS now. We can see through when the media speak. Every time they speak, it's just full of lies. It's full of distortion. It's full of agenda and propaganda. And this is media all over the globe that we're talking about. There was some mainstream media I was watching from the U.S. and from Canada, and they were talking about, oh, look, they're arresting protesters, as if we haven't seen that in our areas.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Hello? Oh, only over there do they get... No, because this is, again, about... well, in some ways it is them versus us, but it's not about the average people of, say, Russia against the average people of, say, the Ukraine, or the average people of China against the average people of Taiwan, or the average people of the U.S. against any of these countries. Again, the average people, for the most part, they want peace. They really, truly want peace. They don't want this, but this is what's given to us time and time and time again.
It is. And, being mindful of where our energy and our attention is going when there's something like this going on is a really good idea, because we can offer our support and our comfort to these people who are, and wanting peace. We can lend to that initiative.
Yeah, I would venture to say there are no saints among any of the leadership that we currently have around the globe.
No, there is not. No.
So, it just goes without saying, as you see thousands of marching, this is in Tbilisi, Georgia, and people want peace. And this is what's going to eventually come. And when we have talked to the Galactics, they say it's like this in every Kali Yuga. At the end of the Kali Yuga, there's always massive war in which people wake up finally and say they're done with it, and they're done with the leadership.
Yeah, it is very much like a light bulb going off if you're in a situation or a relationship that's just not working, and one day you kind of wake up and you have an epiphany and you say, hey, I don't have to live this way anymore. And that's when we start to take responsibility for our surroundings and understand that we can create our own surroundings.
And here you see the average people huddled in what is to them seems to be one of the safer places, down the subways, in the metro stations. And, it's so sad to see. I mean, people's entire lives are getting blown up above. And when we look at Adbec Exchange, you could see there's these are all flights that are in the air. There's nothing over Ukrainian space.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an obvious bald spot.
Yeah. And if we go to you could see the military flights that they're listing. And again, we'll leave it to MonkeyWorks to go into bigger detail. Just wanted to let you know, when you look at it, yeah, it's on. There's no aircraft besides military that would be in this airspace at this point in time. So when we look to the map here to see what we know, we see there were troops that were airborne into this one airport, and apparently there was fierce fighting. They took it, and apparently they've lost it, and we'll cover that too. But you see other areas here where there's been conflict going on, and this is in St. Petersburg, Russia, with people protesting the war. That's beautiful. It's beautiful that people are protesting the war. I guess it's in my blood. I remember when John Lennon was killed, and it was very sad. Again, anybody that talks out about peace, whether we're talking Gandhi, Martin Luther King, they always seem to get targeted by the dark side. This is just what they do. They don't want peace breaking out. They really don't. But we are waking up, and we're becoming more empathetic, and that's going to mean that things are going to become intolerable to us. We're not going to be able to tolerate it anymore. We're not going to be able to just look away. And so many people in the U.S., for instance, hasn't affected my life. Everything seems normal here. Again, look to the prophecies, because it says it comes here. All these prophecies say that it will be at our doorstep at some point in time. And even karma, just looking at the law of cause and effect and karma, when we see all the wars that they've used the U.S. to go ahead and do, again, that brings a negative effect.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, they're very good at taking this energy and using it to mold the world in which they wish to live in. And that's something that we need to learn how to use ourselves and mold our world. So in a way, these beings are teaching us about our abilities, because we all have this ability to reach out into the ether, change things, help those that need help, and create our own surroundings to favor ourselves.
So this says Russian forces have seized Snake Island, a small but strategic island in the Black Sea. And when you see where Snake Island is, down here we're talking about, this is Crimea, Mariupol. There's major fighting going on right here. There's Donetsk. This is off the coast of Romania and Moldova. So, again, it might be some little, situation that develops that ends up being interpreted as an attack on NATO. And then all of a sudden we do have WW3 underway. And he was explicitly careful, when we say about number 46, to say that, and the way he said it too, he said distinctly, we are not going in, to fight militarily in the Ukraine. And what I took that to be is, no, we're going to wait for the opportunity when something happens that we could say it's an attack on NATO. And, who knows? I mean, I'm not even sure who technically owns this island. Let's see, does it say? Well, it was part of a border dispute between Romania and Ukraine in 2004-2009, during which Romania contested the technical definition of the island and the borders around it. So, apparently, Court of Justice in 2009 providing Romania with about 80% of the disputed maritime territory. So, if Russian forces took that, could that be interpreted as an attack on Romania? Just saying, it could be something, so it might not be anybody on there, even a place, it doesn't matter. Again, it's always just a reason for.
Right. I mean, they can come up with anything they want to create that excuse to, do what they're going to do next. They're very, very good at that. They're very, very good at, claiming this happened or claiming that happened. So this was our response. And a lot of times they're really good also at getting their people behind them, because they see something happen and they advertise something's happening so the people can be all for it, and then they have all of that momentum behind them and they have all of that energy behind them. So you see more and more and more, this is more about the energy out in the ether than anything.
Absolutely. And the energy that's out there right now is one, obviously, of turmoil, great turmoil and confusion. And we see over here, over 150 Russian officials sign a letter condemning the invasion of Ukraine. And here this gentleman says, if this is real, it's going to be 150 new faces on Russian milk cartons saying missing.
Right. I know. There's just so many different ways that this can go, and that it is going to. I mean, this is impossible to keep track of everything all at once, really.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead. We see this out of Breaking 9/11, 10,000 automatic rifles reportedly issued to civilians in Kiev. And that's not surprising, because they were talking about it, that people would fight to last single person. We shall see. There are signs that this battle is not completely underway yet. And here we see President Biden's been presented with cyber attack options that are designed to disrupt Russia's ability to sustain its military operations in Ukraine, disrupting internet connectivity, shutting off electric power, tampering with railway switches. Now, Peppermint Patty came out and said this is a false report.
Of course she would. And just remember, a few days ago we had certain helicopters just sort of crashing, just sort of out of the blue. Oops, those went down. Gee, gosh, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify for my own knowledge, Romania is a part of NATO. So if they took that island and Romania says it's theirs, in which they were given 80% control of that island, that could be an attack on NATO, or it could be interpreted as an attack on NATO, just to put that out there again. And here you see really heavy fighting in Sumy, tanks, artillery involved. And I've seen reports where it says Russia is now in control of this area. Most Russian forces surrounding Ukraine still appear to be on standby and have not moved on Ukraine yet, per U.S. defense official. So this is, again, reiterating, this is in the opening phases, as you see massive, massive bombardment going on. I mean, this is... Usually the only time we hear stuff like that is at the grand finale on the 4th of July, and that's the only time we really want to hear anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we want to hear it, see it in a celebratory way, not what they're doing here.
No, and so, again, this is a really sad thing. Now, this is a video of, this is pretty scary stuff. And that's just basically a sonic boom, because the jet goes by so low, so fast, it just shattered the windows.
That's just horrible to do that to innocent human beings who just want to come to this earth and exist with it and have an experience. Look how they manipulate this.
This is Kharkiv area as well, where there's an ongoing battle going on. And this is the second largest city and municipality in the Ukraine. Latest population, almost 1.5 million. Lots of people there. You saw all that bombardment that we were looking at before. Not a good situation. Oh yeah, and this is just double checking. 25 miles from the Romanian border, which Romania is a NATO member. And again, Romania lays claim to 80% of the island, according to that settlement. A Russian assault force in Hostomel airport is fully destroyed. So we're seeing from Stratcom here. Others are reporting this as well. So the facility is now under the control of Ukraine, as perhaps things are going not as easy as they did last time.
No, not at all.
Because also, I mean, there's been such an influx of material in there, if not military forces in there from other countries. There's been a ton of material going in there. And so the paratroopers that originally landed were not able to hold it. And we have Brazilian soccer stars stuck in Ukraine begging for help from their government to get them out of there. As there's probably, people don't always heed the warnings. And of course, we have heard so much about this is coming. And then you get a lot of people that just think, well, we always hear that, but nothing ever happens. But, these times are different.
Well, it's that frog in boiling water thing. They just started out in such a place where people don't really notice any difference. And then pretty soon the water is boiling and it's too late to hop out. So this is what we have.
And this channel says know it, right? This right here is showing Russian airstrikes on Ukraine military installation. This channel just popped up. It joined February 21st, 2020. But when you look at the videos, it's like all of a sudden now, boom, 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 boom. They're watching everything closely. You never know who is in place and is actually part of different governments. Now, who knows? Maybe this is run by the Ukrainian government. Maybe it's by a Ukrainian citizen. Maybe it's by, Russian. Who knows? It could be anything. I'm just saying this too, because I see so many people that will make apparently negative comments on certain videos, and you look and you see that, their channel just started like a day ago. Yeah. And we keep getting Facebook requests, friend requests from military people. They always put military pictures up and stuff, and we know they're just monitoring us as they monitor others. And our own militaries, our own alphabet soups do this with our own citizens. They do it over to the Russian citizens. They do it over to every country on the globe. Again, there's no privacy. And these governments, they're not really serving the masses. The people that are doing the dirty work, of course, they're fed the propaganda. It's pounded into their minds. And yet they're not really serving humanity. They're serving the controllers, which, again, is like 1/10,000th of 1% of the population.
Right. And I think what really concerns me is these people, they're acting on their own best thinking. They're acting and doing what they think is the right thing to do, and they're fully behind their ideas and what they believe in, as we all should be. But when those ideas are slanted and when those ideas are manipulated, that's the things that we need to watch out for, I feel.
Absolutely. So here you see a member of Ukraine's parliament accusing the country's president of accumulating more than $1 billion in a mansion in Miami. Do I doubt it? No. I mean, the billion sounds a little bit high, but, if it was something like, $250 million, that'd be a little more believable, but maybe it is $1 billion. Who knows? Again, if they're in power with the power structure that's in place, more than likely, they're not too straight.
No, they're not.
No, they're very, very crooked. And they're going to be working for themselves first and everything else, after. On both sides. This is it. And when we get this, when we start to realize this is when we're going to be getting done with the Kali Yuga. That, you remember those pictures of the planes that were bringing the UN troops up into Canada? Well, Chorus Aviation is what some have tracked them down to be owned by, this company, Chorus Aviation. And then when we look to Chorus Aviation and we look and we see top mutual fund holders, oh, Schwab. Yeah, again, that entanglement by these different groups. Of course, we know, Trudeau is a big part of their golden child, elite leadership, youth, etc. of past years, foundation, where they're bringing up the next bunch of world leaders, right? It's all just such a tangled mess. As soon as we can get the majority of people to recognize this, then we'll have real change. Mm-hmm. You got to get all the corruption out of there, as you see the Canadian federal government facing lawsuits now. When you get enough people to band together and to demand that all these egotistical, war maniacs step down, then we'll have change. Oh, by the way, the Vatican has a vast archive that is under restricted access protocols that prohibits the widespread dissemination of so many historical records that it requires 85 kilometers or 53 miles of shelving to house them. Bit dodgy, yeah?
I know, and I've always thought whenever I watch these movies and whenever we watch something that we feel kind of resonates or might be awakening the DNA, I always knew these people get this information from under the Vatican.
Absolutely. And it's because, again, these beings, yes, they do regularly meet with those dark extraterrestrial interdimensional forces that really are running the show. Mm-hmm. And so, could the Vatican eliminate world poverty? Absolutely. They don't want to.
No, they don't want to. I mean, it wouldn't benefit them. Then they couldn't sit in their golden chairs with their golden robes and eat the best of the best food and, drink the best of the best wines and just enjoy themselves completely if that were the case.
Absolutely. Could the leadership of the globe really put their minds together and achieve world peace? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could if they wanted to, but that's not what they want. So
no, it's just because they don't want to. It's that simple. They'll tell us one thing and do another. So thank you guys for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Do check out Medicinal Foods. There's a link at the top of every video. Make sure you use coupon code EEA and get a discount. And it does support the channel. And then you could reach out to us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. Thanks for your patience with us getting back to you and getting you scheduled for energy work, Vedic charts, spiritual coaching. As always, guys, envelop the world in a glowing ball of love and keep holding peace in your hearts, because it is going to change. It's just a matter of time.
God bless and namaste.
Namaste.